Hip-hop is glamorous, loud, and bigger than life, but behind the fame and the music, danger is never far away. Some rappers have come face to face with death and lived to tell the story. Today we look at the artists who survived assassination attempts. Some stories are shocking, some almost cinematic, but all reveal how dangerous life can be when fame, money, and street connections collide. Case 1, 50 Cent, Brooklyn shooting, 9 bullets, 1 life. Curtis, 50 Cent. Jackson survived a near-fatal ambush that could have ended hip-hop history. Curtis Jackson grew up in the tough streets of South Jamaica, Queens. His early life was marked by poverty, exposure to crime, and the loss of his mother at a young age. He turned to street hustling but also found refuge in rap, blending storytelling with raw authenticity. By the late 1990s, 50 Cent was gaining attention through mixtapes that showcased his survival instincts, street smarts, and lyrical prowess. In May 2000, while visiting his grandmother's home, 50 Cent was ambushed by gunmen. 9 bullets struck him: his arm, hand, legs, chest, and face. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital. He was barely conscious and fighting for his life. The attack was reportedly linked to local drug dealers who felt threatened by his rising influence. Recovery was long and painful, involving multiple surgeries, physical therapy, and coping with scars that would forever mark his body. But 50 Cent turned the incident into motivation. He poured his near-death experience into Get Rich or Die Tryin', a debut album that became a blueprint for resilience in hip-hop. His lyrics reflected survival, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of success despite overwhelming odds. The shooting didn't just shape his music, it reshaped his persona. 50 Cent became the embodiment of toughness, fearlessness, and survival, inspiring fans who saw him as a living legend. The attack also highlighted the thin line between fame and danger in hip-hop, where rising visibility often attracts deadly attention. 50 Cent stared death in the face and walked away. His story is a blueprint for turning tragedy into legacy. Case 2, Lil Wayne, Atlanta shooting. Even seasoned icons aren't untouchable. Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., better known as Lil Wayne, grew up in the Holly Grove neighborhood of New Orleans. His youth was surrounded by poverty, local gangs, and early brushes with the law. Despite this, his talent and charisma earned him a place in the rap world at a young age. By 2020, Lil Wayne was a global superstar with decades of music shaping modern hip-hop. During a visit to Atlanta that year, Lil Wayne's entourage reportedly became the target of a shooting. While he was unharmed, the incident shook him and those around him. Details were kept intentionally vague in media reports, but insiders suggest it was connected to long-standing local rivalries and the inherent risks of being a high-profile artist in volatile areas. Surviving this attack reinforced Lil Wayne's understanding that fame brings constant exposure to danger. It also influenced the way he managed public appearances, security, and interactions with potentially hostile environments. Fans and industry peers noted that the incident, while minor compared to 50 Cent's shooting, reflected the reality that even established stars navigate life-threatening situations in their daily routines. Lil Wayne's ability to continue performing and recording after the incident demonstrated resilience and composure under pressure. Even icons like Wayne must tread carefully, because in hip-hop, survival is as strategic as any verse. Case 3, Bow Wow, Atlanta shooting. A young star, a sudden ambush, and the lessons of survival. Shad Gregory Moss, known as Bow Wow, became a child prodigy in rap under the mentorship of Jermaine Dupri. His rise was meteoric, hit albums, movies, and tours, but with visibility came danger. In 2005, during a trip to Atlanta, Bow Wow was nearly caught in a shooting ambush. Bullets narrowly missed his vehicle while a nearby crowd scrambled for cover. Though physically unharmed, the incident left psychological scars. Bow Wow later spoke about the fear and paranoia that followed. Security measures became a constant consideration, and the experience shaped how he navigated fame as a young artist. The incident also influenced his music, embedding themes of caution, trust, and awareness in his lyrics. Fans who followed Bow Wow's career recognized the importance of these lessons. Early exposure to real danger gave him a unique perspective. Success in hip-hop is not just talent, it's survival, strategy, and understanding the stakes of the streets. Some survive unscathed physically, but the mental impact lingers. For Bow Wow, awareness became his armor. Case 4, Young Dolph, multiple shooting survivals. Before tragedy struck, Memphis's independent king dodged bullets more than once. Adolph Thornton Jr., aka Young Dolph, was a fixture in Memphis's rap scene. Independent, outspoken, and deeply connected to his community, he cultivated both fame and respect. However, his visibility also made him a target. In 2017, gunmen ambushed his vehicle outside a recording session. In 2019, another attempt targeted him during a a public event. Both times, Dolph survived due to quick reflexes and security presence. These close calls heightened his cautiousness, but they also contributed to his fearless persona. Fans admired his ability to thrive despite repeated threats. Musically, his lyrics reflected awareness, loyalty, and survival instincts. He often discussed the fine line between life and death in interviews, emphasizing that constant vigilance was a non-negotiable part of his life. Young Dolph's story illustrates a harsh reality. In hip-hop, independence and visibility can attract lethal attention. Survival requires more than talent. It demands strategy, alliances, and sometimes sheer luck. For Dolph, surviving bullets became part of his legend, but no amount of fame could guarantee safety. Case 5. T.I. Atlanta assault attempt. Even kings of the South face danger in their own backyard. Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., better known as T.I., rose from the streets of Atlanta to become one of hip-hop's defining Southern voices. His early life was steeped in the challenges of crime, poverty, and frequent encounters with violence. By the mid-2000s, T.I. had become a household name with multiple chart-topping albums and a growing film career. In 2007, while moving between venues and personal engagements, T.I. reportedly became the target of an assault attempt in Atlanta. Witnesses described a tense situation. Multiple assailants attempted to ambush him during travel. Though T.I. was unharmed physically, the psychological impact was profound. He increased security measures, adjusted travel routines, and became more aware of the potential consequences of fame in a city with complex street dynamics. The incident reinforced his reputation as a tactician. Beyond music, T.I. demonstrated an ability to navigate the intersections of fame, danger, and strategy. Interviews later revealed that the experience taught him to balance visibility with caution, a lesson he would carry throughout his career. For T.I., surviving danger wasn't just about luck. It was about vigilance, strategy, and understanding the stakes of fame. Case 6. The Game. Los Angeles shootings. West Coast rap is famous for rivalries, but few artists have faced danger as directly as The Game. Jason Terrell Taylor, known as The Game, rose from Compton streets to prominence with the documentary and other seminal releases. His career has been defined by fierce rivalries, both personal and musical, and his ties to West Coast street culture made him a visible target. Throughout the mid-2000s, The Game survived multiple shooting incidents in Los Angeles. In one particularly harrowing event, masked assailants fired at his entourage near a recording studio. Bullets struck nearby vehicles, narrowly missing The Game himself. The attacks were believed to be tied to rival gang affiliations and disputes over territory and reputation. Surviving these incidents shaped The Game's persona. He became hyper-aware of his surroundings, took security seriously, and used his experiences to inform his music. Tracks like Hate It or Love It and interviews reveal how survival, strategy, and understanding street dynamics became central to his identity. The Game survived bullets and rivalry alike, proving that in hip-hop, caution and street smarts are as essential as talent. Case 7. 50 Cent. Early career threats. Before the 9-bullet shooting made him a legend, 50 Cent navigated a world full of danger. Curtis Jackson's early years were defined by survival. Growing up in Queens, he was exposed to gang violence, poverty, and street politics. Even as he began distributing mixtapes and gaining underground fame, rival crews frequently targeted him. Many threats went unreported, but friends and insiders recall near ambushes and tense encounters that could have ended his life long before the infamous 2000 shooting. These early experiences forced 50 Cent to develop an instinct for survival. He learned to read people, navigate high-risk environments, and leverage conflict into advantage. His persona as an unflinching, fearless rapper was built on these real-life lessons. Fans recognized that his music, filled with tales of survival, strategy, and resilience, reflects not just lyrical talent, but lived experience. Long before fame, survival was Curtis Jackson's first lesson, and it shaped every verse that followed. Case 8. Lil Kim. Past assaults. Hip-hop isn't just a man's world, and Lil Kim knows the risks all too well. Kimberly Jones, better known as Lil Kim, rose to prominence in the 1990s as a pioneering female rapper. Her bold persona and raw lyricism broke barriers, but it also made her a target. Early in her career, she survived multiple assaults connected to rivalries and disputes within the music industry. Some of these incidents were never widely publicized, but left lasting psychological marks. Lil Kim's survival of these attacks reinforced her persona as fearless and determined. She navigated fame with caution, understanding that visibility often attracts unwanted attention. Her experiences influenced her music, interviews, and public image, showing a calculated awareness of both opportunity and risk. Fans and peers often note that Lil Kim's ability to survive early threats while dominating a male-dominated industry set a precedent for resilience and assertiveness in hip-hop. Lil Kim survived when others might have faltered, proving that awareness, strategy, and courage are essential for survival in hip-hop. Case 9. Tupac. Before Las Vegas shooting, even legends aren't untouchable. Tupac Shakur survived multiple close calls before his fatal encounter in Las Vegas. Born in East Harlem and raised in Baltimore and the West Coast, Tupac's life was shaped by hardship, activism, and street awareness. He navigated poverty, police scrutiny, and gang culture from a young age, developing resilience that would define his music and persona. By the early 1990s, Tupac had risen as one of hip-hop's most influential voices. Before the infamous 1996 Las Vegas shooting, Tupac survived several assassination attempts. One occurred in Atlanta in 1994 after a heated altercation with rival figures escalated into gunfire. Tupac emerged unharmed but acutely aware of his vulnerability. He began to carry heightened security, adjust travel routes, and maintain constant awareness of potential threats. These survival experiences informed Tupac's artistry. His lyrics, filled with themes of mortality, betrayal, and survival, reflect a man who had faced death multiple times. Interviews and documentaries suggest that these encounters contributed to his mythos as invincible, yet perpetually at risk. Fans see these brushes with death as central to Tupac's enduring legend. They highlight a pattern in hip-hop where talent and visibility attract danger, and survival requires vigilance, instinct, and sometimes luck. Tupac's narrow escapes remind us that survival in hip-hop is never guaranteed, and that every close call leaves its mark on the artist's life and music. Case 10. Nas. Targeted attacks. Even rap royalty has had brushes with death that few know about. Nasir Jones, known as Nas, emerged from Queensbridge to become one of hip-hop's most respected lyricists. Growing up in one of New York's toughest neighborhoods, Nas faced constant exposure to violence and crime. Rumors persist that during the height of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry in the 1990s, Nas was targeted in a series of rumored attacks tied to street rivalries and music industry tensions. While specifics remain unverified, insiders note that he often traveled with caution and adjusted his movements in response to perceived threats. These rumored incidents shaped his outlook and reinforced the importance of strategic thinking, awareness, and measured responses to conflict. Nas's ability to survive potential attacks allowed him to build a long-lasting career, producing albums that explored social issues, street realities, and personal reflection. His survival contributed to his image as a wise, cautious, and enduring presence in the rap industry. Nas shows that survival isn't just physical, it's mental, strategic, and requires understanding the environment around you. Case 11. King Von. Close calls before his death. Even rising stars must navigate deadly waters. Davon Bennett, known professionally as King Von, rose from Chicago's drill scene to national prominence. Known for storytelling and authenticity, Von's life was intertwined with the city's complex street dynamics. Before his fatal shooting in 2020, he survived at least 2 major attempts on his life. One occurred during a nightclub confrontation where shots were fired in his direction. Von escaped physically unharmed, but the incident heightened awareness of threats in both public and private spaces. Another attempt in 2019 further reinforced the dangers surrounding him. These survival experiences informed his music, stage persona, and approach to security. Fans recognized his courage and resilience. Each brush with death added authenticity to his lyrics and reinforced his fearless image. But the constant exposure to danger highlighted the fragility of life in hip-hop, where one misstep can be fatal. For King Von, survival was part of his rise, but always precarious and never guaranteed. Case 12. XXXTentacion. Survival of prior attacks. Before his tragic death, XXXTentacion had already stared death in the face. Jose Dwayne Ricardo. Onfroy, known as XXXTentacion, grew up in Florida in a turbulent environment marked by poverty, family instability, and exposure to violence. His rise to fame on SoundCloud brought immense attention and dangerous scrutiny. In 2017, he reportedly survived a serious attack outside a studio session, linked to personal disputes and growing rivalries in the Miami scene. This near-death experience shaped XXXTentacion's music, giving it a raw intensity that resonated with fans worldwide. It also influenced his personal approach to security and visibility, making him more cautious in public settings. Despite surviving these attacks, he remained a polarizing figure, navigating conflicts that eventually culminated in his untimely death in 2018. The story of survival before tragedy highlights the constant danger surrounding young stars in hip-hop. Each encounter leaves psychological and creative marks, shaping both the artist and their legacy. XXXTentacion's brushes with death remind fans that survival in the music industry is fragile, and even near-death experiences can leave lasting effects on life and art. 12 rappers, 12 brushes with death, 9 bullets, ambushes, and narrow escapes that could have ended their stories before the world ever knew their names. From 50 Cent's legendary survival to XXXTentacion's near misses, these artists have faced the harsh reality that fame comes with danger. Every verse, every public appearance, every rivalry carries risk. But surviving these moments didn't just save their lives, it shaped their music, their persona, and their legacy. Hip-hop is a culture of resilience, ambition, and courage. These stories remind us that behind every beat and lyric, there is a human being navigating a world where loyalty, street politics, and visibility intersect with real-life danger. Survival is never guaranteed, and each escape leaves its mark physically, mentally, and creatively. So the next time you listen to their tracks, remember, these artists didn't just make music. They survived bullets, threats, and near-death moments, and in doing so, they turned survival into legend. In hip-hop, life and death are never far apart, and for those who survive, every verse becomes a testament to resilience, every track a story of survival, and every legacy a reminder that in this world, fortune favors the cautious and the brave.